morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Amanda. I am the registered dietitian here at the Wellness Center and one of the inpatient dietitians over at the hospital at Berkeley Medical Center. So if you caught my talk last week, we talked a lot about good tips and techniques to help us continue making good and healthy food and nutrition choices during this time of quarantine and social distancing, especially as it relates to stress and emotional eating, which I know a lot of people can relate to right now. So today, I just wanted to take that and kind of expand on it a little bit further and really talk about some good tips and recommendations for some good, healthy recipes that you can make at home using very, very basic cooking skills and using shelf-stable, inexpensive, and very minimal ingredients overall. So, one of my favorite things to talk about, really in general at all times, but especially right now with everything going on, is that eating a healthy, well-balanced diet does not have to be expensive. It does not have to be expensive. And I know that's a really common misconception. People always say to me that they want to start making healthier changes and make changes to their diet, but they don't think that they can afford it. So I just want to talk about, again, like I said, some good, healthy recipes today using shelf-stable, inexpensive ingredients with really requires no cooking skills. So I have a ton of shelf-stable, inexpensive favorite ingredients that are a huge staple in my diet. But the one that I'm going to talk about today specifically is canned tuna. So if you do not like tuna, you don't eat tuna, you haven't had it in a long time because you don't think you like it, please don't log off, stay with me. You may feel inspired by some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. If you just really hate it or you have a food allergy, please just keep watching. You may feel still inspired by some of the recipes and feel like you can exchange the tuna out for something else that you do like. So, this tuna that I have specifically, I bought at Walmart. It's just Walmart Great Value brand. It cost me 68 cents, so super inexpensive. There are a ton of different brands that you can get. Not one specific brand is more healthy than another. However, I do encourage you to buy the ones that are packed in water as opposed to the ones that are packed in vegetable oil or any other oil. So this has a lot less calories in it because it's packed in water. And also we don't really need the vegetable oil as a source of fat in our diet when we are cooking meals that have tuna in it, because tuna is such a great source of unsaturated fats or heart healthy fats to begin with. So because of that, tuna is such a great source of our omega-3 fatty acids. So that is so important to our health. I could go on forever, but just to name a few, omega-3 fatty acids are great in reducing our risk of developing heart disease. It helps lower our bad cholesterol. It aids in our eye health. It aids in our brain health and just a ton of other things, so really important. Another great health benefit, nutrition benefit of canned tuna is that it's a great source of lean protein. So this can right here has 24 grams of protein in it, which is a great source. It's also packed with a lot of great vitamins and minerals. So tuna is a great source of our B complex vitamins, vitamin D. It's a great source of potassium, phosphorus, iodine, magnesium. It's a source of iron as well. So super, super nutrient dense food, inexpensive. Like I said, it cost me 68 cents, and it's also really shelf stable. So again, this can that I have is good until 2022, so over 2 years. So like I said, I know that we are all really trying to limit our, public outings right now, social distancing, and so we're limiting our trips to the grocery store. And so this would be a really great food to kind of stock up on, keep in your pantry. It's not going to go bad anytime soon. Also, if you caught my talk last week, I gave a great tip about always just having a backup meal at home, whether it consists entirely of frozen foods or canned foods, but just having a meal entirely at home that you know is not going to go bad for a long time and you can always fall back on it, a fallback meal. So if you find yourself in a situation where you want to make dinner but you are missing a few ingredients, or you just find yourself in a situation where you just don't have a plan for dinner at all, you know that you can always fall back on that fallback meal that you have. And so canned tuna is a great ingredient to kind of shape a meal around because it's going to be good for such a long time. It's so small, it's inexpensive, you can just keep it in the pantry. So now that I'm done fangirling about canned tuna, let's move on to the good content. 2 things I want to say though quickly before I start highlighting my meals that I want to talk about. Number 1 is, I think later today or possibly tomorrow, I'm going to type up these recipes and these instructions. So if you feel really inspired and you really like the recipes that I'm going to talk about, you can just refer to those written instructions that I'm going to post on the Wellness Center's Facebook, if that's okay. so that you don't have to rewatch this video 20 times to figure out how to do it. The second thing I want to say is that I did not make these foods, make the meals specifically to show you, but I did bring most of the ingredients to kind of walk you through it. So really the point of this video is to just kind of briefly talk about each one of these recipes and just kind of get the point across that healthy eating can be so easy, inexpensive, and use super minimal ingredients. So 3 meals using canned tuna, super healthy, here we go. Number 1 that I like to talk about is tuna melt zucchini boats. So really what you're going to need, I hope you can see this, to make this meal is a zucchini, obviously, a can of tuna, drained, some diced celery and onion. I didn't have any celery, so I just brought an onion. So if I was actually making this right now, I would just use twice the amount of onion. So these recipes are super flexible. You can kind of, add or eliminate whatever you want, and it'll still taste good. A little bit of Greek yogurt and some shredded cheese. So the first thing that you want to do when you're making this is wash your zucchini, first of all, definitely food safety. And then you're going to cut it in half lengthwise so that you have 2 kind of long halves of your zucchini. And then you can scrape out the seeds and some of the insides. You can use like an ice cream scooper or a cookie scoop or whatever you want to use to kind of scrape that out. You can save the insides of this if you want and make something else, zucchini bread or something, or you can discard it if you're not going to use it. Once you have your halves that are kind of scraped out, you can brush it with some olive oil, spray some nonstick spray on it, just because we're going to be putting this in the oven to kind of keep it, that was going to keep it from drying out a little. Sometimes I like to season it with some black pepper too. So when you have your 2 halves, then you want to stick it in the oven at 350 degrees for about 10 minutes or so just to soften it up. While this is in the oven, you mix together all of your other ingredients. So a can of tuna, drained, some chopped, diced celery and onion. However much you want to use is personal preference. I usually use probably like a 1/4 cup of each. About a 1/4 cup of plain Greek yogurt. Mix all of this together. This is when you can also add some other things, whatever you want. So I usually sometimes add some Dijon mustard or a little bit of lemon juice, definitely some, maybe some garlic powder or black pepper, whatever seasonings you like to use. Mix that all together. When your zucchini comes back out of the oven, you just scoop that tuna mixture onto each of your zucchini halves and then sprinkle with your shredded cheese on top and stick it back in the oven for about 10 minutes just until this cheese gets melted. So easy. It only takes, 20 minutes, but just because 20 minutes of it is spent in the oven. So super protein packed, either a light lunch or a great snack. Another thing that I really like to do with this tuna mixture that I was just talking about is spread it on some apple slices too for a great, mid-afternoon snack or anything like that. One thing that I do want to point out for each recipe I'm going to be talking about is I kind of priced it down just so that I can make a point of how inexpensive healthy eating can be. So this meal that I just talked about, all priced down, is only going to cost you $1.84. So definitely depends on the brands and things that you're buying, but for me that's how much it cost me to make this. So awesome meal. Let me get these out of the way. The next meal that I want to talk about are tuna patties. So I actually made these this weekend and they were super good. So minimal ingredients, you only really need 3 ingredients really to make these. Is 1 can of tuna, drained really well, about a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and 1 egg. So all you do is you mix all of these things together, 1 can of tuna, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and an egg. Mix it all together. You can also add some, diced celery and onion again if you want, or whatever other seasonings you want. When you're making your patty, you just kind of squish it all together and form a patty like you're making, a black bean burger, or I guess just a beef burger in general. With 1 can of tuna, I can usually make about 2 patties of about that size. So my favorite way to make these is actually in my air fryer because you don't have to use any oil to make them and they get super crispy. But if you don't have an air fryer, no biggie. You can also just make them on the stove in a frying pan with a little bit of olive oil, and they'll crisp right up, maybe about 3 to 4 minutes on each side until they're browned. My favorite way to serve these is on some greens. So I like to serve them on a spinach salad with some other veggies there. A sauce that I really like to make to put on top of these, bringing back my Greek yogurt, is just about a tablespoon of Greek yogurt or so and a little bit of sriracha sauce to make it a little bit more spicy there, and just serve it with that over my greens. You can also serve it in a lettuce wrap if you want, a lettuce leaf wrap, or you can just put it on some bread like a sandwich, however you like to eat your tuna patties. So The total price for this with just the patties came out to $1 exactly to make 2 patties. When I'm eating this at home with my husband, I usually he eats one, so it feeds both of us. If you have a bigger family, you can definitely double this recipe if you want to be $2 to make 4. And then I also price it out if you are going to serve it over a spinach salad with some extra veggies and that yogurt sauce that I was talking about, and it came out to $1.54. So still super inexpensive and a great, awesome, healthy meal. So, get these out of the way. All right. My third recipe that I want to talk about is probably my favorite, except I say that about every single one, so I'm not sure. But I really love this one. And like I was saying, these are tuna rice bowls. But like I was saying with all the other recipes, they're super flexible. You can add or eliminate any ingredients that you want to. This one is the most flexible out of all of them. So what you need is, again, a can of tuna, about a half a cup of brown rice or so, and a cucumber. So the first thing you want to do is make your brown rice either in a rice cooker or on the stove, however you make your rice. While that is cooking, you can clean, skin, and dice up your cucumber. I usually use about half of a cucumber, and I save the other half for a different snack or a different meal. But you can use the whole one, it just depends how hungry you are. And then you want to take your tuna, drain it really well, and then you can add whatever seasonings you like. I usually, again, add some black pepper and some garlic powder, but whatever you like to season your tuna with would be perfectly fine. When your rice is done cooking, you take a bowl and you put your rice in the bottom, then you sprinkle your diced cucumber on top, and then your tuna on top. And then again, another thing that I like to do is to use that Greek yogurt and sriracha sauce that I was talking about, a tablespoon of Greek yogurt and a little bit of sriracha sauce to make it a little bit spicy, and eat it with my tuna rice bowl. So this price down, is $1.13. So most inexpensive of them all, and super, super good. So those are the 3 recipes that I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys really like them and you're going to try them this week. Let me know what your favorite things to do with canned tuna are. I think I would really like to try them, and I really think that everybody watching would really benefit from that too and love to try a lot of different things. So, in conclusion, tons of things to do with canned tuna. Super inexpensive. We can keep making good health choices and nutrition choices, eating super healthy. Next week, I think I'm going to continue this mini series on shelf-stable, inexpensive food ingredients, highlighting 3 to 4 different recipes. I think next week I'm going to talk about quinoa. If you don't know what quinoa is, or you know what it is but you have never made it, it is a whole grain kind of. It's not really a whole grain, it's actually a seed, but we kind of classify it as a whole grain. It's a complete protein, a great source of fiber, so stay tuned for that. And I think I'm also going to highlight black beans next week. So let me know what foods you really like to cook with or you want me to talk about, and we can get to those too. So if anyone has any comments that you want to make right now or any questions for me, I can get to them right now. If not, I'm going to go ahead and log off. And please feel free again to comment some of your favorite things to do with canned tuna so everyone can see those. And again, stay on the lookout for my recipes that I'm going to type up and post today so you can make them. So, awesome. I can't really read them from there. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'm going to go ahead and log off. Thanks for joining me today. See ya.